July 27th, 2026, I completed my first week in sales.io, and it's honestly better than I thought. I'm not gonna lie. At first, I was just in the sales call, I was just trying to figure out if they were legit, because everything is just, I don't know, it just looked so too good to be true a little bit. I don't know why. But yeah, no, it was a dumb question to ask yourself, apparently. Well, I don't think I should say dumb question because, you're always skeptical before you get into anything. But anyway, yeah, it's better than I thought. It's the impact of just showing up on coaching calls every day. Even though you don't really engage, it just still helps a lot, right? Like the impact of that is better than I thought. So yeah, JJ's coaching me because I'm guessing it's because I DM'd him around a year ago when I was thinking about joining first, and the fucking during the biggest turmoil of my life. But I think because of that, his CRM his CRM labeled me, and then he was on a sales call. He took the sales call, and then now he's coaching me, which is fucking dope. Because honestly, I really do look up to him. I really do. But anyway, it is going great. We got a coaching call today, and we did have some guests over at my house, and now they're gone, and now it's gonna be even better. And my surgery is mostly healed, and I'm about to get my stitches taken off. So after that, I'm gonna start moving a little bit more because I've turned into a fucking fat ass in 2 weeks. Also, another reason why I'm doing these videos is because I need to keep talking on the camera. Yeah, that's how you say it, right? Talking on camera. Yeah, talking on camera. Because, my speech is not super fluent. So it's getting better slowly, though. And, it was so cool. I was going through, there's this thing. I don't want to reveal too much about what they teach in there, but there's this framework that's called PACE. It's the it's 4 different types of decision making processes that exist amongst people, right? P is practical, A is action, S is social, and E is emotional. There's like 4 different types amongst people, and they make decisions accordingly. For example, practical is a skeptical type, right? They need to hear structure and the logic behind they want to know what works, and they want to know why it works, the process behind everything. So that's P. Action is the competitive and impatient decision maker. They want to win, and they want to win now, and they care about outcomes. So when you're having a conversation with an A type, you want to just get to the point, be direct, and just tell them the outcome and tell them how they're going to win, right? How you're going to help them win, how you're going to help them see results, which is me. That's because the framework, when you're going through the framework, the training Bible says, you need to find out which one you are first, and I didn't really have a thought, but anyway, I'll get to that later. So, PACE, PAS, social. It's like they when they're making a decision, the S type thinks more about their community and how this decision is going to impact them, or what this decision is going to take away from them, what this decision is going to contribute to their lives, not just their community's lives. Like family oriented, and the family fathers, and community driven, all that stuff. So you want to lean more into that when you're in a sales call with them, and be emotional. They're story driven, and they care about they care about the transformation, and they care about how they're going to feel after the transformation, during the transformation, inside the school, inside the community, all that stuff. They're all about feelings, right? And I couldn't figure out which one I am initially, because I was between practical and skeptical, and A, obviously, but A was still the strongest. And also A type makes decisions fast. They're like, go, okay, is this legit? Is this, and what's the outcome and how fast? Okay, if they're fine with the outcome and how fast, they just make the decision, right? So I was thinking, and I wanted to ask JJ, and he really liked the question, and then he ended up saying, you do have some practical, and you do have some emotional too, because I am story driven. Like, I like stories, and I do I shared a lot of stuff that's going on in my head and my life, and I am quite story driven as well. But in terms of making a decision, he said, I feel like you're apes. APES, if you want to put them in order, from the most dominant to the least. It's like A, definitely action, because and then I thought about it too. I led with the outcome that I was after. When JJ asked me in the sales call, he was like, what are you trying to do? Why are you here, right? Classic. And then I immediately said, like, within the next 6 to 8 weeks, I need to get I want to get any type of job that's it doesn't matter how big or small, great offer, setter, closer, I don't care, as long as I'm making more than 2K, that'll help me stick with this program, and then eventually I'll get to where I want to go. And I want to get clearly said what I want and how fast I want it, right? And then it was a quick decision. I was surprised the sales call was like 35 minutes, because I was like, okay, yeah, I see how this could help me, and then this, the outcome that I wanted, and how fast, and all that stuff. And the competitiveness is just, the biggest sign. So like, that's why I ended up being A in his eyes too, which confirmed it, which felt good. And then P, I do think about, and also P, practical types, they really pay attention to the downside too, right? So those are some stuffs. Like, I do want to understand why something works, and I do obviously think about the downside too. But in terms of like being cautious, it's like I am on the I'm like maybe 20% of what a generic practical person. I'm probably 20% of how much a generic practical person is cautious, if that makes sense. So yeah, apes, I think it was a spot on, from JJ, and it helped me clarify that too. And also I had there was earlier in earlier sections of the training Bible, there was one section where they're asking you in a great conversation, what role do you play? Are you the one asking the most questions? Are you the one making the other person laugh? Are you teaching them something? Or there was one more thing I don't remember, like 4 different questions. Which one are you? And the other one is after that great conversation, if somebody would ask that person, how would they describe you? Would they say you're a good listener? Would they say you know what you're talking about? Would they say you are really curious about the other person, stuff like that? And I couldn't really, because I see myself doing almost all of those things, in practice, in a great conversation. So I decided to ask a friend who I recently had a great and long conversation with. It was pretty recent, like a week ago, and she and I we ended up talking for. We were at a cafe. Cafe was closing at like 1:30 a.m. in the morning, and then we stayed there, till the close, and it was fucking cool because we were catching up. But and then the conversation quickly, went from just catching up to like a lot of, we shared a lot of ideas, talked about a lot of deep topics and all that stuff. So I was like, well, I better just ask her because I do want to get clear on that too. And she just blew my mind with the answer. I was just expecting her to, there's like 4 different options in both of those questions. So I just expected her to pick one on each. But she went deep. And that's, I was really flattered, I gotta say. Really flattered because I was not, as I said, I was not expecting, and I never looked at myself from that lens. But one of the best things she said, obviously, you're a good listener, you're the one asking questions, and when you're talking about something, you don't it's so obvious that you're only talking about what you have, your opinions only, they are only formed from experiences you actually had. You don't share any shallow ideas. You don't, it's not empty underneath. There's substance behind what you're saying, everything you're saying, which was great to hear. I never heard that from anyone. And she also said if somebody's got worries, they're worried about something, if they started talking to you, they would feel relief. If they're a confident person, you would make them feel even more confident. So if there's anything negative going on, you would solve it for them. And if they're in a positive state, you would, enhance it, put it on steroids, you know what I'm saying? I was like, holy shit. Wow, I had no idea, So it was great, especially hearing it in a situation like where I am now. Is it's performance based, right? It's a performance environment, although that's the opposite of what Sales.io teaches. You still need to, performance in the sense that you need to keep yourself at a high state, to continue the work behind the scenes, before you get on a call, and before you start taking calls, before you, after you make improvements and all that stuff. It's still performance. So hearing stuff like that was really encouraging. I really, really appreciate that person. Maybe she'll see this video many years later when stuff is different. But yeah, this is where we're at. And it's become more clear now, the road ahead. It's getting clearer as the days go. It was just the right decision. I'm really, really happy about that. But yeah, July 27th, I think, 2026.